When someone comes into your life, they're supposed to add value to your life and not take away from it. Good evening. This is Ken from the Spice Dudes, and we're back with another episode of KENTalk. We'll be trying a new format from this episode onwards because my previous episodes actually had audience participation. So, this is something like a new format where it's direct to YouTube, and we hope you like the new format. And if ever, we will have live sessions from time to time if that is what the public so demands. But now, the topic for tonight is ghosting. When it comes to certain terms that are thrown around here and there nowadays, mas type ko talaga i-describe in my own words. And I really feel that there is no other topic out there when it comes to relationships as relevant as ghosting. And people would usually throw it around, nag-ghost ka pre. Ay, nag-ghost ako. Ang sakit. But most people don't really understand what it is. So, what is ghosting? Well, to me, ghosting is when, for some reason, you don't really respond to someone anymore, regardless of whether or not you actually have had a relationship with the person, regardless kung talagang naging kayo ba, magkaroon ba kayo ng label, you just suddenly stop talking. You disappear on them. You don't talk anymore, so to speak, from isang very popular song in the past. So this is something that gets thrown around a lot, as I've said, and people don't really know what to do with it. And I can understand that because it is a scary idea that someone who was so into you or was like talking to you every day suddenly just disappears. Personally speaking, I've had experience in um, in being ghosted myself. So let's talk about those things. So first of all, my personal experiences. In today's society, in the current culture of dating, pakiramdam ko nga talaga na it's kind of easy come, easy go. Kahit anong gawin mo pa, the fact na may mga applications out there, may mga programs out there, may mga websites out there na napakadali na talaga makahanap ng date or fun, as they would call it. So, I can kind of understand as to why nag-ghost na ako ng maraming beses. People just lose interest. People just stop talking to me. And for whatever reason there is, the fact is they just stop responding. So, it is something that was very difficult to deal with nung dati, nung mga nag-ghost ako. And feeling ko kahit mag-ghost ako ngayon, medyo masakit pa rin yun. Kasi yun nga, nagkaroon ka na ng emotional investment. Naglabas ka na talaga ng time, effort, mga iba baka money pa. Tapos bigla na lang hindi ka nakakausapin. Yung mga iba block ka pa nila. And the first thing that I did or felt was, may ginawa ba ako? May problema ba sa akin? For some people, maybe this hits a bit too hard. Nga, na, was it something I did? Was it something that was me? Ako ba yung problema dito? And ramdam na ramdam ko yung mga panahon na yun eh. Yan, yan talaga yung mga times na talagang, ah, Shit, man. Like, anong ginawa ko? Ano ba talagang ginawa ko? May ginawa ba ako? Nobody can confirm that for you. Kasi nga, hindi ka kinausap eh. Hindi ka sinabihan na parang, ay, ang boring mo kausap, sige, ML na lang ako. No hate sa ML. Pero, ayun nga. Basically, they had more fun things to do instead of talking to you. That messes with you so much. And when it comes to dating, if there is one really, really difficult thing to deal with, it's when you don't get told what went wrong. Because then you would overthink. Yung, your mind would just keep going and going na, what could have I done? What could I have done? What should have I done? Was there anything that could have been done? And so that keeps going and going and really, really messes with you. I would dare say that it is one of the most painful experiences that anyone will ever have to go through. And I believe that it is something that will happen more and more, especially that we are going towards what I call a hookup culture. Of course, others have probably described that, but maybe some of our listeners here at KENTalk has not really come to terms with the fact that we're moving towards what is called a hookup culture. Instant gratification is the name of the game, and it is incredibly, incredibly difficult to play. Now, of course, baka may mga listeners out there na magsasabi na, Ken, never ka ba nag-ghost ng tao? Never ka ba naging ghoster? Unintentional, definitely yes. Kasi hindi na sila nag-reply or nag-reply sila ng sobrang tagal. And nung nag-reply na ako, never din sila nag-reply. So, I didn't know what to do with that. I can only name maybe just a couple of times where I did some sort of intentional ghosting na I just left because it was just no good for me anymore. I felt that I had to respect my boundaries. I had to establish my boundaries. I mean, sabi nga nila na if someone comes into your life, they're supposed to add value to your life, not take away from it. Again, when someone comes into your life, they're supposed to add value to your life and not take away from it. Because the more you give, the less you have for yourself. I know Disney movies, the movies always talk about how love conquers all and you're supposed to do so much for the other person. Pero yung viewpoint ko dito kasi is, well, as I've reached this current stage in my life, is if you're going to go into a relationship, it should be mutually beneficial. It shouldn't be toxic, it shouldn't drain you, it shouldn't kill you inside to stay in that relationship. And I dare say that no relationship is better than a toxic relationship. So, if at all possible, if you have to leave, then yung recommendation ko for you just having to leave or to break it off, then if you can, go ahead and break it off. I believe that ghosting happens because both parties or one of the parties believe na there's no point in trying to make a big scene out of it. Because if they do make a formal breakup or isang formal parting of ways, usually magkakaroon ng malaking scene. Magkakaroon ng malaking event. Magkakaroon ng gulo. Who knows if you do this in public, edi baka mag-eskandalo, as they say. Maybe some of you have had that experience. So, it's a very uncomfortable feeling. Sabi nga nila, the dumper usually feels even just the slightest bit of guilt, especially kung sobrang into them yung dumpy, yung ibabreakan. So again, for those who intend to ghost someone, do your best to make it so that there is isang formal parting, isang formal breakup. Kasi wag naman tayo ganyan na kung nag-invest na kayo into each other na ng time, effort, and affection or emotions for that matter, eh bigla na lang aalis ka lang nang walang paalam. Sabihan mo naman sila na, oh, I'm just not that interested in you and I think we should see each other, people. Or di na ako interesado sa'yo. May iba akong priorities. I really need to make some money for myself so I can't do this anymore. Parang ganun. Pwede naman. As long as you're honest and as long as you try your best to convey yung feelings mo to the other person, I think mas ma-appreciate nila yun eh. Because as I've said, being left there to wonder what went wrong and why the other party went silent is just going to really fuck up the other person's mental state for a really long time. They're going to have a lot of issues with self-doubt. They're going to have a lot of issues with self-esteem. And the question that they're going to ask for a really, really long time is, was it me? Was I the problem? No, the problem wasn't you. It was that the other person just somehow decided, unintentionally or intentionally, to just leave you without a word. So for those who have been ghosted, we talked about yung ghoster and kung mag-ghost ka ng tao, please try your best not to. Unless circumstances really, really show na that would be for the best. If you've been ghosted, I really want you to try your best to list down maybe what happened and try reaching out maybe once or twice pa kung may gagawin ba talaga, kung may patutunguhan pa ba, and evaluate kung ano nga ba talaga yung nangyari. You can list down what you did, what you thought, what you said, and you can also list down what the other person thought, did, and said. And may kita mo talaga dun kung nasulat mo na wala ka naman talagang ginawang mali eh. Wala naman eh. Umayaw lang talaga yung isang tao eh. Hindi na akong kinausap eh. Tangina naman. Ask yourself, ginawa mo ba lahat para makausap din yung tao na yun tungkol dito? Kung na-block ka na, kung hindi ka na talaga kinausap, so maybe set a certain amount of time before you decide on just moving along na, edi somehow try to convince yourself that it was their decision. Sa mga nakakaalala ng Serenity Prayer, basically, you should know the things that you can change and the things that you cannot. And there's very little to do about things that are really out of your control. May mga bagay talaga na out of your control. Wala kang magagawa dun, masakit tanggapin, pero may mga ganyan talaga. The reason why a lot of yung mga na-ghost na, nagsistay dyan na parang pinag-isipan pa rin nila kung anong nangyari, it's because our brains keep telling us that this is a problem, this is painful, and we want to remove that pain. So there has to be a solution to that pain. So anong nangyari sa brain natin? We end up trying to keep thinking about the things that we did, said, and thought, and looking for some kind of solution there. Kaya paulit-ulit eh. You can reflect, you can think, you can evaluate what you did, but anything beyond a certain point, kung masyadong matagal na at paulit-ulit na, tawag dun ay rumination. And it does a lot of damage over time, especially kung nasanay ka. Sabi nga ni Gotti, di ba? If you guys know yung song na Somebody I Used to Know, you can get addicted to a certain kind of sadness. Please, if you can, after some time, you do have to list down the things that you did, said, and thought, and you finally have to put a lid on the experience. You have to make a conclusion. If there was no closure, if there was no conclusion, then you have to make your own. If anything, one of mine before, I had to just keep repeating it to myself every time I was just spiraling down that thought process. Basta yung spiral na yun, I just had to keep repeating to myself that the other person made their decision. And try as you might, but despite everything you did, they made the decision to walk away, to leave, to consider that they would be happier without you. And there's not much you can do about that. And this trend is likely to continue. The trend of ghosting is very much likely to continue. Simply because of the rising trend in yung hookup culture. Pag-uusapan natin yan sa isa pang episode ng KENTalk na it's instant gratification. Easy come, easy go. Kung madali lang kunin, edi madali din pakawalan. It is definitely best na right from the very beginning ma-establish na ninyo kung ano ba yung talagang hanap ninyo sa itong relationship na to, sa itong encounter na to. If it's fun, for whatever fun that kind of fun is, whatever that kind of fun is, then okay, at least na-establish yun. And if both of you are just looking for fun and nothing serious, then great. If both of you are looking for something serious, edi good. 'Di ba? Sana totoo naman yung sinasabi na serious sila. Pero ayun nga, mag-meet dapat halfway na yun nga, dapat both of you are serious. Both of you are just looking for fun. Dapat match yan. Problems happen kung hindi kayo match sa goals nyo dun sa relationship na yun. And please, please lang, just be very transparent. Kasi sa totoo lang, there are always going to be people out there who are just looking for fun. There are always going to be people out there who are just looking for isang serious relationship. And again, it's going to really F them up kung hindi match yun. And it ends up with you just basically betraying their trust, betraying them kasi iba yung sinabi mo dun sa napag-usapan. I'm not saying that ghosting is to be completely accepted, but it is something to be aware of na. There are several things na signs. I do believe you can look them up, but just make sure to know na lang na usually it's pretty obvious when someone is just trying to not be in contact with you anymore. And so, that is all that I have for you today about the topic of ghosting. If you've made it this far and listened, then I do hope you've enjoyed yourself. If you would like to have us talk a bit more about what to do with ghosting, or if you've been ghosted, then please do make sure to leave a comment or drop us an email. If there are any topics that you would like to talk about on the show or you would like me to talk about, then please do leave a comment as well or send us an email. I hope to see you again in the next episode of KENTalk. Keep it spicy, my friends.